John Lennon once said, "There is nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be." That sets the mood for today's presentation. I'm going to talk about fate and free will. When asked, most people reply with one phrase to the question, what makes humans different from other species? The answer, free moral agency. Free moral agency refers to the existence of a moral conscience that allows you to make choices in life. Now, before starting, let me define fate and free will. According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, free will refers to the unique ability of persons to exercise control over their conduct in the fullest manner possible for moral responsibility. On the other hand, fate is an idea of something being written, the idea of destiny, the idea of God or mystical powers. However, there's this other way to look at this argument, and that is determinism. According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, determinism exists if and only if, given the way things are at a certain point of time t, everything thereafter can be determined by that way of things. My argument: you have no free will. So let me start by saying, what do you think free will exists in? For example, we all think that when choosing between both of these pens, I can use my fullest moral responsibility and exercise control over my choice to decide I am going to use this black pen. Or you can decide in the trolley problem whether you would want to kill one person or 5 people. We all think that those are places where we make choices. Now, let me provide a very simple logical explanation. What defines the choice we make? What determines whether we make X choice or Y choice, or there are sometimes hundreds of possibilities? What determines what choice we make? Obviously, there exists this moral agency, this one conscience inside us that some people would say it's in our brain, some people would say it's in the soul, but nevertheless, there should exist this decision-making agency in our body. How does this decision-making agency develop? Now, you can look at it 2 ways. One, you're born with it. You're just born with a moral agency that tells you right and wrong, and nothing else affects it. So basically, when you're born, you know what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is unethical, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. In that case, the only thing that decides what happens is genetics and mutation. So you have no control over how the primary cell mutated and gave you that moral agency and that moral conscience. So you have no control over whether or not you decide this or this, because the decision-making agency itself, you're born with it. The other way to look at it is that the moral agency is shaped by 3 factors: experiences, environment, and nature, or genetics. Now, we all need to agree on the fact that there has to be something in the beginning. There has to be some natural, genetic, mutated body or mind or structure that we all start to think from, that we all that's the point of time that anything starts. So now, let's assume that we are born, and after that, We allow our experiences and environment to change the way we think, to change the way we make decisions. But how do these experiences and how does the environment change us? Well, again, let's look at it in an input function output format. So let's say one of our experiences is of seeing someone steal, and that is the input. The input obviously comes through our five senses always, and then it goes to the brain. The brain renders this information and it sees that, oh, this is what happened, and the output could be a storage in the memory suggesting this one new decision-making ability that says, when given a choice, do not steal. When given a choice, stop someone from stealing. However, what decides what is stored in the brain? The function itself. The brain itself decides what is stored in the brain. So it is possible, and there is some likelihood, some probability, that due to some genetic mutation in our brain, the brain is functioned to see that act of stealing as moral, to see that, oh, one new moral agency is that we should steal. One new moral agency is that we see this. We should never stop someone who is stealing. There could be several other examples, but the point here is when nature, environment, and experiences affect us, all of those we have no control over. We have no control over our environment. We have no control over what experiences we encounter. We have no control over what we are born with. All of these shape our moral agency through millions of different experiences, through millions of different processes. But at the end, like the example I said, the primary existing function is what defines what happens to the brain after, what happens to our moral agency afterwards. So, logically speaking, we have no control over what moral agency we end up with, and thus we have no control over what decisions we make, because we do not know what agency is going to decide those decisions. Let's say, for example, we're all trying to choose our classes right now, and you have a choice between hundreds of different classes. Now someone's moral agency suggests to them through several different experiences and several different environments that, oh, I should choose speaking as a fine art because it covers GEs, it is logical to take that class, it has a great professor or whatnot. And someone else's moral agency suggests that I should take intro to philosophy or I should take math. Whatever is behind that choice is not defined by the person themselves, because if you backtrack it several million times, you're going to end up with this one primary moral agency that you were born with, that was mutated in several different ways to give you your decision-making power now. So, determinism is not to say that hard work or ethics is nullified. No. Determinism just suggests that there is a pre-existing system that nature has, and we have barely any control over that system. However, just because we cannot decide what choices we make doesn't suggest to us that we are still not moral beings. We are still supposed to be ethical, hardworking, work towards our goal. Thank you.